Hello and welcome to Spardha Lines, your one-stop destination for the civil services preparation, UPSC, KPSC and other relevant examinations. Today we have picked up a couple of important articles from the Hindu which are very significant from your UPSC examination point of view. Let us try and understand what are these articles in greater detail. The first article is with respect to your science and technology as well as your governance. What is the article speaking about? The article here is taking a look at what is called as the concept of cookies. What are these cookies? These are not the biscuits, mind you. These are nothing but the informational bits that are stored on your websites. We will try and understand what are these cookies, what are the advantages of it, what are the disadvantages of it, and what needs to be done going forward. And do note, it is important from your GS paper 3, which is science and technology, as well as from your governance perspective. What is this digital cookie? A digital cookie is nothing but an informational bit. Let me explain this so that you understand. Whenever you visit a website, you will have a preference. A preference of what? A pop-up that immediately comes on that particular website which says that do you want to admit the cookies or not. So it will ask you whether you would want to manage the cookies, whether you want to accept the cookies. So there you would be able to select that you accept all cookies or you would either deny these cookies. So what are these digital cookies that we are speaking about? These are nothing but the informational bits. So the minute you go to your browser, it can be a Chrome, it can be Mozilla Firefox, it can be Bing, whatsoever. So you enter into a search engine, you enter into a Chrome, that is the browser, and on the browser you select a website. Let's say for example you select the website of Flipkart, or you select the website of Amazon, or you select any other website for that matter, let's say the Hindu or the Indian Express. So immediately a pop-up comes up and it asks whether you would want to accept the cookies or you would want to reject the cookies. So this basically means that particular website is asking you an information which you would accept or not, basically to deliver more services to you. So your browser will take you to a website. This website will ask you for the information so that you can cater to your services, is what is called as cookie. So cookie is nothing but you would give some information to that particular website so that it can track your informational analysis and ultimately pop up and throw some information to you. Let me explain this with the help of an example. Let's say for example you go to Hindu and it asks you for some information, that is it asks you for that permission, and the minute you give the permission, what will it do? Let's say you are looking for an information on another website. Let's say you are looking for a mobile phone or you are looking for a book to read. So the minute you come back to the Hindu, this information that you've asked on the browser will be reflecting on your Hindu website. That is what is called as cookie. So basically when it comes to cookies, they contain massive amounts of data, that is information that a user keeps checking constantly, which can be reflected on a website. For example, when you go to the cookies and you accept the cookies, let's say you would want to buy a book. So if this particular book you are searching for, if it reflects on the website, that reflection of the website is because of the cookie. So the cookie basically is the information that you access on the website, and it gives you the information on the basis of your search. So you would have asked for a book, you would have asked for a mobile phone, you would have asked for a couple of other things online. You might be looking for a pen, you might be looking for a stylus, you might be looking for a headphones, you might be looking for an earphones. So you might have been looking on Google search engine, but the minute you go on another website, it is wanting to see what you want to do, and ultimately there is a pop-up window that appears on the right. It showcases the ads to you. All this is happening because of the cookies. So the cookies is able to track you, make sure that your information that you are searching for is ultimately delivered to you in a different website. So what exactly happens? Let's say another example, you go to a Flipkart or you go to an Amazon website. So it is this Amazon website and this Flipkart which is able to showcase what products that you have sought in the past. It is also able to reflect on what you are seeking from the past and ultimately throw conclusions to you so that you would be able to buy that particular product. How is Amazon or Flipkart able to throw such interferences, or it is able to draw a conclusion that you would be wanting so and so product? That is because you have allowed cookies to function. A cookie is an information that you have asked in the past that has been saved on that particular website, and ultimately it gives you out an information, or it gives you a particular pattern of the information that you have sought from the past. That is how the cookie works. So how do the cookies work? Think of cookies as a cost to secure members only club. Just like the club bouncer recognizes regular patrons, a cookie will help you ensure that you are the person searching for so and so information, and immediately it will take that information from multiple websites and throws it on the websites. So on websites like Amazon, cookies remember customers' previous interactions from the products they have browsed to purchase what they have made. Armed with knowledge, Amazon serves up to tailored product recommendations and content, making the online shopping feel like a personal boutique services. What are the advantages of these cookies? Now that we know that I have given permission to the cookies, so the website is able to track that what I am looking for. So what is the advantage of it? Each time you log in, you don't have to keep giving the information, because you've already given the information. It knows what your information patterns are. It will be able to understand what is that you are looking for, and ultimately start showing those services or the goods on the website. So each time you don't have to give your credentials, and that happens to be the most important factor. Now, what are the types of cookies that we have? The first type of cookie that we have is called as the session cookies. What are these session cookies? Let's say, for example, I am on the Hindu. So I have opened the browser. So as long as I have this browser open, the session will keep track of what I want. So a session cookie is nothing but that particular session, only for that session. So I open the browser, I allow the cookie to function. So as long as the browser is open, that particular session will keep track of the information that I would want to access. So the minute I close the browser, it will not keep track of this information. So the first type is called as the session cookies. So it will keep track of the information of you, or what information you are looking for, only as long as the browser is open. The minute the browser is deleted, I mean the minute the browser is closed, that means that particular cookie will also get closed, and it will not have any information whatsoever. Then what we have is the persistent cookies. What are these persistent cookies? These are similar to bookmarks that you have on the browser. Let's say, for example, you have a browser and you're looking for the Hindu, where you keep updating every now and then, or you look at Indian Express articles, or you look at any of the other articles. So what do? You bookmark, which is placed on the top or on the starting page, that is on the visiting page. But in persistent cookies, what happens? They stay on as long as you're browsing in the hinge, and cookies, these persistent cookies, remember the login information, language preferences, and they also have interactions that you have made. So it is not just restricted to that particular session, but as long as you would want it to retain, it will retain that. Then what we have is the secure cookies. These are only sent over encrypted connections, making them safer from the prying eyes. Secure cookies are often used for sensitive data like login credentials. So what are these secure cookies? Let's say, for example, you go to SBI, or let's say, for example, you go to ICICI, or let's say, for example, HDFC. So this information that is sent on secure channel like the SBI login page. So let's say you are conducting an online transaction via SBI or via the HDFC. So as long as this encryption is present, where you have given the key, two-factor authentication in the form of login ID and password, and then there is an SMS that is sent to you. You also give the OTP that is given from the server to your phones, and you authenticate yourself. As long as this entire encryption is present, the security remains. That is when it will be able to tabulate and remain and ensure that you are the person who is accessing the data. The minute you log out of that particular website, it will not keep track of your data. That is what is called as secure cookies, where these cookies will retain your data as long as you have an encrypted data. How? Because you have your two-factor authentication. And then what we have is the third-party cookies. What are these third-party cookies? Let's say, for example, you visit one of the websites, let's say a website A, www.a.com. Now there is another website called as B. So there is www.b.com. So this happens to be a third party. So the minute you make a visit to website A, this third party will also be able to track the information which is called as the third party cookies. So these are the different types of cookies that we have. What happens with these cookies, as we discussed, each time you log in, it will not ask for your data. It will know what is the information that you are looking for, what is the product that you are looking for, what is the service that you are looking for. So each time you visit, you need not have to tailor made to this particular locality. That means to say, each time you log in, you don't have to specify the region, you don't have to specify the login credentials. It already knows what is that you are looking for. These are the advantages, but then there are major challenges that we have to cater to. What are the major challenges? One is to do with your privacy. There are also essay topics that are asked in your UPSC as well as at the state level examinations as well, where they ask you a topic that privacy during the internet era is a myth. The privacy in a digital era is a myth. Yes, it is a myth. Why? Because everything is being watched. Why? Because in this particular case, you allow that particular website to track you, where you are, the locality you are in, the region you are in, and ultimately it is also able to see what your thoughts are, what you might ask, and ultimately your privacy is in your hands. So the first major issue is that there are privacy concerns, as it constantly keeps tracking you when it comes to the cookies. The second major issue is security risk loom when cookies are indeed inadequately secured, opening doors for the cyber criminals. What is the second major issue? The second major issue is there is a cookie. So it means that you have given permission to this particular website to see what your information accessing parts are. At this particular moment, a cyber criminal may also eavesdrop into this particular thought, and then he can also see what is the information you are accessing, and he can also target you, and he can also start throwing information at you, and he can also blackmail you as well in case there is some sensitive data that you are looking for. That happens to be the second issue. Thirdly, the era of user consent has dawned thanks to privacy regulations like General Protection Regulation and the California Privacy Act, necessitating websites to seek your approval before deploying certain cookie types, resulting in those somewhat irksome pop-ups and the prompts. What is the issue? For example, you visit a website. Not all websites will by default track you. They have to ask you. So the minute you go on a website, they have to seek your consent. But what happens in couple of websites? When it comes to couple of websites, accept the cookies is given in bold letters. It will be very bold. It will be in a huge size. But the rejection part, reject the cookies, is given in a small letter, or there is a particular option given to you called as manage cookies, but when you go and click on this manage cookies, you have to keep searching where exactly is this reject cookies button. That is at the bottom of the page, or it cannot be seen as well. It is in a color where it is not visible for your eyes. So it means despite the laws and the rules and the regulations which prescribe that you have to ask the consent of the user to track the cookies and that person's information, this information to reject the cookies is not present. This happens to be the third major concern. Even if it is given, it is not visible to our naked eyes, and that happens to be the third major concern. Fourthly, third-party cookies have also sparked debates, promoting many websites to curb their usage to safeguard user privacy. And lastly, data deluge generated by multitude of cookies can potentially clog the browser, leading to a sluggish website experience. So more and more cookies, more and more websites, more and more it will keep tracking you, and it will also keep throwing you unwanted services, and these services which you may not want it is becoming the dark pattern as we discussed previously. So what is dark pattern? Those which you originally did not want to buy, you go on to buy that product primarily because the digital tools and algorithms have been constantly throwing it at you. So this particular article also says that because they are able to track your movement and also see what is the information you are sorting for, you might have asked them in the past, but now it is showing that information because you have sorted in the past. So you might have bought a product in the past, now it is being reflecting despite you not wanting it, you may buy that product. So data protection is the need of the hour to ensure that such cookies do not enhance or encourage you to do an activity which you do not want to do. So data protection laws is the need of the hour is what is this article all about. Now let's look into the next article. This article once again is important from your UPSC examination GS 3 perspective, that is GS paper 3. GS paper 3 science and technology, and again this is also important from your governance paper as well, where privacy comes into picture, data protection laws come into picture. It is also important from polity point of view, where article 21 speaks about right to privacy. Let us try and understand what is this article all about. First, we have to understand the meaning of generative artificial intelligence. What is this generative artificial intelligence? As the very name denotes, it is artificial intelligence, but there is a word preceding to it which is generative. So it is able to generate the information from the information that it is already fed with. So artificial intelligence is an algorithm and a programming tool where a certain amount of information is already fed into that particular program or the software or an algorithm. Because of the information that is already put into that particular website or that particular tool, it is able to take the information, read from this information, regenerate the information and ultimately give you an output and an outcome. So generative artificial intelligence is an artificial intelligence tool where the information that is already spread will be regenerated, and as per the questionnaire that you are asking, it is able to give out the information. The simplest of generative artificial intelligence that we have is the example of ChatGPT. How does ChatGPT work? Let's say you are asking for some information. What is that you have to do? Go on to this particular website, ask for some information, and it will immediately start giving you the information that you would want. Sometimes it may not be able to give, and also note, ChatGPT was not able to clear the UPSC exams, so it still goes on to feel that UPSC exam is one of the toughest examinations in the country. It was able to crack some of the toughest questions as well, but on a whole, ChatGPT was still not able to crack the UPSC. So UPSC is a tough nut to crack. You have to constantly study and endeavor to succeed in this examination. So how does this work? So when it comes to generative artificial intelligence, you constantly feed the information in an algorithm. From the information that it is spread, you would be able to derive the output from that particular software. But this article says that when it comes to these generative artificial intelligence, it is generating a certain outcome from it. Is this subject to the copyright or not? Let's say, for example, I write an article. This article that I write can be subject to a copyright, or let's say there is an image. This particular image that I write can be subject to a copyright. I mean, a painting that can be done, or there is a music pattern. So let's say, for example, there is a music director who has created a particular pattern or a music. So this music that is created is a subject matter of copyright. So when ChatGPT is able to come out with an article, is it subject to copyright? So this article currently goes on to say that when it comes to United States of America, they have a clear thought about it. So whatever is been introduced by by these machines are not subject to the copyright. Let's say, for example, ChatGPT has come out with one of the articles, or let's say there is another artificial intelligence tool like DAL-I. If it has come up with an output or an outcome, is it subject to copyright? No. Why? Because there are no human efforts here. There are no creative efforts that have been introduced by a human. It is a tool that has been created by a company and it is generating an output, and this output is not a manifestation of a human thought. If I am writing an article, if I am writing this article putting my human creativity into it, that becomes a subject matter of copyright. If there is an artificial intelligence tool which is doing it, that is not a matter of copyright according to United States of America. So United States of America and its laws are very clear that it says if it is an artificial intelligence tool which is generating, regenerating, recreating and coming up with something new, despite it is being new and nuanced and something which is enhanced to an optimum level, it will not get any of the copyright because it is an artificial intelligence tool. Clear, plain, simple, end of the story. But when it comes to India, there is a quite ambiguity here. What is the ambiguity in India? When it comes to a recent painting that happened, initially it was given a permission that yes, this belongs to a copyright. It was a tool that was generated by an artificial intelligence tool. So the picture was given a copyright and then the picture was also withdrawn as well. But when it comes to the website to see what is the status, it is still given this copyright. So when it is in United States of America, there is clear cut path as to what could be the outcome beyond it. But when it comes to India, there is no clarity on it. So what this article goes on to say is that when it comes to copyright, what we can import is the concept of United States of America, because there is no application of mind when it comes to artificial intelligence. So any tool that it is giving will actually give only those which is encrypted, which is made sure by that particular tool. Whatever information has been fed, only that has been fed and not with respect to the other issues. Now when it comes to the European Union also has regulations as well. We have the European Union's AI Act as well. So according to it, it has clearly gone on to say that European Union knows that it is the future which will be molded by the technology. So it has given more importance to the respect of privacy. So the European Union's AI Act is more with respect to the privacy. It is a risk-based approach. They are prohibiting certain kinds of practices and suggesting ex ante assessments for the same. So this particular issue goes on to say that EU has been able to regulate emerging tech, and AI has been very focused on individual protections against large platforms and companies that project their market. So basically they give more importance to an individual over the company, and if there is anything to do with that individual, that takes the precedence over the company values. So again, the emphasis has been with respect to an individual, his contributions, but more so when it comes to company, that is not taken into picture. So what is the difference between USA model and the EU model? USA model is comparatively liberal. It gives not much importance to the regulations when it comes to the companies, but when it comes to EU, it is more about individual rights rather than the company rights. They have fined Apple in the past. They have also imposed penalties on Google as well as Facebook. So for them, what matters are the privacy and not the agenda of this particular company. So when it comes to United States of America, they are comparatively liberal. They give importance to individual as well as the company, but more emphasis is given to an individual when it comes to the European Union. This generative artificial intelligence could also become a problematic area to the students as well as to the education sector. How? That is because whenever a student is studying, what he has to give rise to is the creative thinking. But when it comes to these sort of issues, creative thinking is not given importance at all. Why? Because you go to the ChatGPT, you ask for the information, write an essay on so and so topic, it gives you an essay, you take that essay, copy paste that essay and you give it to your class teacher or to the professor. So where is the creative critical thinking? The students are not able to think in this particular manner, a manner in which a creative thinking can be applied, and this ultimately leads to lack of creative thinking, and this will make them dull in the near future. Persistent to that, there is disinformation that is also given by this technology. Let's say for example, there is deepfake techniques as well. These deepfake techniques can employ multiple tools and technology, and this can also create cyber security threats as well where privacy of an individual is at stake. So this article has major issues when it comes to generative artificial intelligence. So the author in this part goes on to speak about what needs to be done on India's front. So when it comes to India, there are two parts that we have to consider. The author goes on to say what we require is a comprehensive regulatory framework, which means we require horizontal regulations as well as vertical regulations, and at the same time the Digital Personal Data Protection Act will have to take note of it. What is the present issue? Whenever you look at DPTP Act earlier, what we had was government and private which was regulated, but now with the act, most of this is on the basis of economic consideration, economic value rather than the privacy. In case they are able to generate an economic value from the information that you have given, such information the government would be able to give it to the private sector as well, and at the same time there are few agencies within the government which is also able to keep track of the information as well. So the DPDP Act, which was originally envisaged to protect the privacy, is not up to date, and this is not in lines with the Sri Krishna committee, is what is this article all about. So basically there are issues and concerns, one with respect to the copyright and one with respect to the laws on the privacy. These issues will have to be addressed by the Indian laws, is what is this article all about. Now let's look into the next article. This article here is speaking about India's kidney transplant deficit. Let us try and understand what is this article all about. This article here goes on to say that we have increasing cases of people who are suffering from kidney related ailments. We have what is called as the chronic kidney disease. What is this chronic kidney disease? Chronic kidney disease happens to be diseases that are related to the kidney, where the kidney is not functioning to its optimum level. What is the function of the kidney? The kidney will basically filter out the wastage, and it will remove all the waste that is present from the blood as well as from the body, and ultimately eliminates the waste from the body. So if it is not working in an optimum level, if it is not able to work in an optimum level, and there is gradual loss of the kidney functions, that is what is called as the chronic kidney disease. So this article currently goes on to say, if we look into the data, in 2022 over 2 lakh patients needed kidney transplant, but there were only about 75,000 transplants that was present. So because there are people who are suffering from kidney related ailments, how do we protect them? What we require is the kidney transplantation. So this kidney which is not working properly will have to be replaced by a properly working kidney. So there is transplantation, that is one person, he is giving one of the kidneys to another person. So there is transplantation, that is one kidney from one person is being moved to another person who has the chronic kidney disease. So this is what is called as transplantation. So what is transplantation? So a person is suffering from chronic kidney disease where there is a gradual loss of the kidney functioning. So kidney is not working at the optimum level. Why? Because a person may be suffering from diabetes, malnourishment, overcrowding, poor sanitation, and 17% of the population are been suffering from some kind of chronic kidney disease. So in order to overcome, what we require is the kidney transplantation. So a person whose both kidneys are working efficiently are fine, this person's kidney will be transplanted to another person who is suffering from kidney chronic disease. And whenever a person is suffering from end stage kidney disease, this person will require immediate assistance. So if a person sickens because of the kidney related issues, he will have his blood impure, and this is when kidney transplant is a necessity. So what are the ways kidney transplantation can be done? One is through a deceased person. The other ways is called as the relative or the friend to donate. What is a deceased person? Who is a deceased person? Let's say for example, a person who is passed away. So a person who is passed away or is expired, his kidney can be taken and can ultimately be given to a person who is seeking for a kidney. So a person has passed away, but then this person's kidney will have to be immediately sent to the hospital. So a person who is passed away, his relatives or his immediate family members will have to report it to the hospital, and the hospital will have to come over and pick up the kidney and keep it in the cold storage, and also will have to transplant to the person who happens to be the victim in this present situation, the person who is seeking for it. But what happens in most of the cases, the deceased person, the family might not know about it, the relatives might not know about it. Even if they know about it, by the time they call, they will not be able to use it. There is no required infrastructure to safeguard this particular kidney. So that happens to be a major problem. So how is kidney transplanted? A person has passed away, so this person's kidney is taken, he happens to be a donor, and this person's kidney is transplanted to another individual who is seeking for the kidney. But then there is lack of infrastructure, lack of awareness about this deceased person's claim. Second is with respect to relative or a friend to donate. What happens when there is a person who is living? Let's say, for example, there is a person A. A person A is living, so this person is suffering from kidney related ailments. There is another person B. The person B is ready to give the kidney to person A. So one of the kidneys of this person B is given to person A, and that is through a relationship. So he might be the brother, he might be the father, he might be any person, he might be the mother, father, so on and so forth. If they are within a relative relationship, that is when a person would be able to give one of the kidneys to another person. This is where the author goes on to draw two other analogies. What is it? One happens to be what is called as the kidney swap. The other happens to be kidney change. When it comes to kidney donation, there is one challenge. What is the challenge? The blood group will have to be same. They also will have to require compatibility, so on and so forth. Let's say, for example, there is an individual A, and the individual A's husband happens to be B. Let's say there is another individual C. Individual C's husband happens to be D. Now B would want to give kidney to A, but then A is not receptive to B's kidney. D, who is husband of C, would want to give kidney to C, but then C is not receptive to D's kidney. So what can happen? D's kidney is receptive to A and B's kidney is receptive to C. So what is happening in this case? There is swapping that can take place. So swapping basically means that one person's kidney is compatible to another person, but they are not related to each other, and as a result, whosoever is related, that person's kidney can be given to another person who is not related. So D's kidney can be given to A and B's kidney can be given to C. So there is swapping that is taking place, which is called as kidney swap. Then there is kidney chain that takes place. What is this kidney chain? Let me give you an example. Let's say, for example, there are three people here. One happens to be A. A is a person who is not related to any other person. This is also called as altruistic kidney transfer. Then there is a person B, then there is a person C, then there is person D as well as E. This person B is now requiring a kidney because he is suffering from end stage kidney disease. This person A will now be able to give one of the kidneys to this person B, but she would not be able to, who is related to B, would not be able to give kidney to this person B, but A can give the kidney. So as an altruistic purpose, because he is magnanimous, he also considers that the human value and life is important. He goes on to give one of his kidneys to B with a human purpose because he has humanity. But this person C would not be able to give B the kidney, and as a result someone else is looking for the kidney. So this person who is now not related to D gives his kidney to D, and E is not able to give kidney to D because he is related to D, but then E goes on to give his kidney to someone else. So there is a subsequent chain reaction because person A has become altruistic and has given to B. C and B are connected to each other because C now feels that A has given this kidney to person B who is related to C. He feels he has an obligation to serve the society. So this person C will give to some other person who is not related to him. That is what is called as the kidney change. So you have a consistent chain of kidney transfers that is taking place for those people who are not connected to each other. So this article basically goes on to say what are the four types. One is a deceased person, second happens to be relative or friend, third happens to be the kidney swap that takes place, fourth is where there is a chain of kidney transplantation that can be done through the kidney change. but there are issues with respect to the kidney transplant. What are the issues? There are barely any swaps and almost no change in India. So this particular issue is continuing in India, where swaps are not allowed. Why? Because when you look at the rules and regulations with respect to the kidney transplant can happen only between the relatives. When there are no kidney swaps that takes place, we are not able to meet the kidney transplant deficit, is the first major concern. Added to it, there is no national coordinating authority for the swaps. We have the regional ones, we also have the local ones, we also have it at the state level, that is at the district level, but we do not have a national authority. What if there is a person who is ready to contribute at the state level? What if a person from the Maharashtra is looking at a person who is staying in Karnataka, is looking on an altruistic basis, is ready to donate, but then there is another person who is looking for a kidney, let's say in the northeastern part of India? No, there is no coordination. What if there is a central repository? If there is a central repository, this can help a person who is suffering from kidney related ailments get the kidney at the right time. So had we had a central repository, that could have helped, but as of now we have it at the local level, at the district level, at the state level, but we do not have it at the national level. Had we had a central database and a repository, this could have helped, says the author. So on one side, we should initiate more kidney swaps. There has to be the chain of command of the kidney transplantation. This has to be enabled. So this relative clause and immediate relatives, this has to be removed, whosoever is ready to contribute. But at the same time, this black market industry will also have to be kept a keen check on. To check this black market industry, what we have is the Transplantation of the Human Organs and the Tissues Act of 1994. And we have also had subsequent amendments that have been brought in 2011. Swab transplants were legalized and a national organ transplant program was also initiated, but the national network remained underdeveloped initially. According to Transplantation and Human Organs and Tissues Rules of 2014, swab transplants are allowed only for near relatives. So these are some of the major impediments. So as of now, we need to reform the chains and the swabs, for which we need not have to come up with new law. All that we have to do is, there are already countries which have imported such concepts like Canada, Israel, United States of America. If we can read and understand and adopt the same thing into India, we will be helping address the India's kidney transplant deficiency, says this article. So what we require is collaborations, enabling few provisions, and coming up with the central repository is what is this article all about. Now let's look into the next article. This article says caring for the world. What is this article speaking about? The article is speaking about the elderly population. So this article says in the next few years, what we will have is the elderly population who would be increasing, for which what we require is social security measures that we may have to look into. Why is it in picture? That is because we have the United Nations Fund which has come up with India's Aging Report 2023. So the first important factor from the preliminary examination point of view is to understand United Nations Population Fund. It is from the United Nations Population Fund was formerly called as United Nations Fund for Population Activities, is a UN agency aimed at improving reproductive and maternal health worldwide. Its work include developing national healthcare strategies and protocols, increasing access to birth control, leading company campaigns against gender marriage, child marriage, gender-based violence, obstetric fistula, and female genital mutilation. These are the work of the United Nations Population Fund. And where is it headquartered? It is headquartered in New York City in United States of America. This United Nations Population Fund came up with a report called as the India's Aging Report. According to it, the population above 60 years will double from 10.5% or 14.9 crore to 20.8% or 34.7% by the year 2050. This will lead to larger repercussions, as more and more people will not be the working population, it will be people who will be in their old age. So this article currently goes on to say that we have to work on such people. when it comes to old age of late, what we have is better services. Better services of what? Healthcare experiences, healthcare services that are provided by the hospitals. So more and more people after 60 years of age, more and more people will have healthy habits. They would be able to live longer, and as a result, these people would not be the working age population, and as a result, healthcare, social security schemes and benefits like pension will have to be taken care for such people. Why? Because the life expectancy is going to increase, and at the same time many people start moving to other countries. For example, there are old age people. These people have their children as well, but these children have their own aspirations and lives as well. They go to a different country. How am I going to take care of these individuals? The law and order problems. These individuals, old age people, are also old. They will not have any strength as well. So how am I going to take care of these individuals when there are killings that is taking place, when there are people who are robbing these old age people? How am I going to take care of them is what needs to be taken into picture. Added to it, when it comes to the old age, we have the men as well as women. When it comes to the women live longer when it comes to the old age, and at the same time their life scale and life expectancy is comparatively more than men as well, and these women might not have worked. These women might not also have their own economic savings as well. When they do not have their personal savings, how am I going to take care of the women is another point. And when it comes to most states, it is southern Indian part which will have more elderly population than the northern Indian part. So how are we going to take care of them? So this article says what we require is a whole of a society approach where you have the government, the security, the civil society, private sector all come into picture. Take care of the older generation. This article further goes on to say that in order to bring a transformation to the old age, what we already have is the National Policy on Older Persons 1999 Act and the Maintenance and Welfare of the Parents and the Senior Citizens Act of 2007. Apart from this, what we have to do is the enhancement of the geriatric care to cater to the unique healthcare needs of the seniors. A multitude of government schemes that is already present. Awareness has to be given. Community-based organizations should actively engage in digital empowerment. Ministerial committees should be dedicated to shaping policies for the elderly welfare, and corporate efforts for joyful aging, social assistance to old age homes and elderly abuse awareness campaigns can also be taken up as well. As an advocate, I've handled a couple of cases with respect to Maintenance and Welfare of Parents and Senior Citizen Act. In this, there is one of the sections which says that, let's say for example, there is a parent. This parent might have given a gift deed to the children. What is a gift deed? That out of love and affection, a parent would have given a house, or he might have given a complex to a person. Now this child now has the gift deed, which means to say he has the authority and ownership of this particular property. All of a sudden, this person does not take care of the children. This person does not take care of his parents. So the parent, if he has given a property expecting that the child will take care of that particular parent, does not take care of the child, in that case he can also withdraw this gift deed as well. I have handled a couple of cases. I have handled these cases before the collectors as well as in the courts as well. So an important point is that the parents would be able to withdraw this gift deed in case the child is not taking care of the parent. So they might have given it out of love and affection, but if the child does not take care of the parent, this gift deed can also be withdrawn. This is another important aspect for you to remember. Now let's look into the next article. This article here is speaking from this article is important from the preliminary examination point of view. What is it speaking about? It is speaking about one of the tribes called as Toto. It is also speaking about this tribe's language called as the Toto language. The Toto language happens to be a Sino-Tibetan language which is spoken by the tribal Toto people and is written in the Bengali script. Even though prominent community member Dhaniram Dodo developed a script as recently as in 2015, most people either write it in Bengali script or write it in Bengali language. So this Toto happens to be a Sino-Tibetan language. The Toto language is critically endangered language as per the UNESCO, and Toto family is also patriarchal in nature, dominated by the nuclear type. So when we speak about the Toto tribes, they are an isolated tribal group residing only in small enclave called Totopara in Alipurdur district of West Bengal, and they are patriarchal in nature, dominated by the nuclear types. These are some of the important facts. So one is Toto happens to a Sino-Tibetan language. They have developed their own script in 2015, but despite that they continue to use Bengali script, and they are Toto tribes as well. These people live in the West Bengal, and Toto happens to be critically endangered language by UNESCO. Now let's look into the next article. This article here is speaking about Swami M.S. Swaminathan. This article here is speaking about the father of Green Revolution, who happens to be M.S. Swaminathan. The legendary agricultural scientist Monkam Swaminathan passed away on September 28. Early on in his career, he cleared this examination for the civil services, but Swaminathan was interested in agriculture foremost and soon ended up pursuing research in this particular field. So he happens to be the father of Green Revolution. If our parents, if our grandparents were able to eat healthy food and sufficient food, thanks to the efforts of M.S. Swaminathan. He would go on to serve at number of institutions related to agricultural sector in both India and abroad. He was the chairman of Food and Agricultural Organization Council, president of International Union for Conservation of Nature and Natural Resources, president of Worldwide Fund for Nature, and director general of Indian Council for Agricultural Research. Through his life, he has received multiple international accolades: Raman Magsaysay Award, Albert Einstein World Science Award, UNEP Sasakawa Environment Prize, UNESCO Gandhi Gold Award, Indira Gandhi Prize for Peace, Disarmament and Development, and Franklin D. Roosevelt for Freedoms Award in 2000. That apart, in India, he has also received Padma Shri, Padma Bhushan, Padma Vibhushan as well. That is for the contributions that he has made to the agriculture sector. It is this that we have to understand with respect to this article. The Hindu also carries a couple of other articles. Swaminathan walked ahead of his time with respect to the scientific community, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi says, innovator instrumental in shaping scientific temper. Please do look into this articles. Just read us reading and you will understand the contributions made by M.S. Swaminathan ji. It is this that we have to understand. So in case you're liking these videos, please do like, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and then please tell your fellow aspirants as well. This is it for today. Thank you for watching. All the best.